everybody, and welcome to the Third Inning Podcast. It's Season 2, Episode 6. The Marlins are the number one team in Major League Baseball. In the NL East, who knew? The Marlins are basically the best there is right now in all of sports. I don't know about that, but it's crazy. Who would have thought? I joked before this weird season starts, and what are the Marlins win it all? Because anything can happen in 60 games. So would they do it? Who knows? Let me know down below in the comments. So we are going to go into our random statistics. We don't have that much to talk about this week. I feel like not a lot happened in baseball this week. I just feel like nothing happened. It was a pretty tame week. We had like 3 ejections. There was probably more than 3, but we're going to talk about 3 ejections that happened this week because I feel like they were the most talked about. But still, nothing too crazy happened in baseball this week. But to the stats. First, who is leading us in hits? And the first one is obviously a name that I have a very hard time pronouncing. So, for hits in the AL, number 1 is DJ LeMahieu. I've never been able to pronounce this dude's name, but he has 30 hits and he plays for the New York Yankees. So in the AL, it's actually tied for 1 and 2. So this guy's name, it looks like Hanser, I can't tell if that's a G or an S. But Alberto, he has 30 hits, and he plays for the Baltimore Orioles. So Baltimore, again, another team where it's like they sucked last year, and now they're doing great. What's happening? These short seasons are crazy. You never know what's going to happen. So going over to the National League, I can pronounce both names. Thank you. So, number 1 takes us to the Rocky Mountains, to Charlie Blackmon with 35 hits. So, out of the whole MLB, he has the most hits. And he plays for the Colorado Rockies. So, staying in that same little division, we have Donovan Solano with 29 hits. And he plays for the San Francisco Giants. So, those are our hits in baseball. I think this is completely new. None of these people were the ones the last podcast episode. I'm trying to get those notes over here to see if any of these are the same. Donovan Solano was number 1 for the NL last week, so he's the only one that stayed on that list. So good for him. So now let's move over to stolen bases. So for stolen bases, it looks like we're tied in both leagues for this. So, oh my gosh. Names, people, your names are so hard to pronounce. That's my fault, though. That's not y'all's fault. So stolen bases, for the first one we'll name in the ALs is Alberto Mondesi. I can't tell. Who plays for the Kansas City Royals. He has 5. Also 5 is Isaac Kenner-Faufa on the Texas Rangers with 5. And again with 5 is Dylan Moore on... Wait. That's wrong. It says Giants for the AL. That's not right. So he should be moved over to the NL. My bad. So, in the NL, we have, again, tied. And in the NL, there is higher than the AL. So we have Jonathan Viller, who has 6 stolen bases, and he is on our amazing team right now, the Miami Marlins. And then Andres Gimenez has 6, and he plays for the New York Mets. So are any of these the same as last week? And none of them are the same. So things are always changing with baseball. It's always different, and that is something that I love about this sport. So strikeouts are basically the same almost the same. So AL, it's still Shane Bieber. He has 54 now. I think that's, no, 30. I think that's a 34, but the mark came off. But okay, 34, and he plays for the Cleveland Indians. And yeah, he was our number one in the AL last week as well, and number one just in general. Or no, that can't be right. I don't know. If it's 54 may be right, but that is a lot to get in 2 weeks. So shout out to him. Okay, so 2 is Lynn. He is 36, and he plays for the Texas Rangers. So our AL is exactly the same as 2 weeks ago, but obviously the numbers are higher. So in the NL, Sonny Gray is the number one with strikeouts with 45, and he plays for the Cincinnati Reds. He was number 2 last week, so whatever happened to Mad Max Scherzer, I don't know. So number 2 in the NL is Aaron Nola with 37, and he plays for the Philadelphia Phillies. So let's go to our next little stats. We have saves. And are we the same? No. Again, always changing, always something new, and I love that. So our number one in the AL with the most saves is actually tied with Zach Britton with 7, and he plays for the Yankees. Going out west, we have Liam Hendricks, who also has 7, and he plays for the Oakland Athletics, who we will be talking about later on in this podcast. And in the NL, we have, staying in the West, both are in the West, we have Kenley Jansen on the LA Dodgers with 6 saves, and Archie Bradley on the Arizona Diamondbacks, hurts me to say their name normally, with 5 saves. So the saves, the AL is where it's happening more, and that was true for last week as well, or not last week, 2 weeks ago as well. So those are all our stats to bore you with, and those were as of the 15th of August. So that is when all those stats came in. It's always changing except for the AL pitching, apparently. So it's always fun to get all of that. So we are going to go talk about things that happened this week. So we will start with Cleveland. Cleveland had to send 2 players to their alternate training site for breaking COVID protocols. If you're breaking protocols, you're an ass. I said it, I never cuss on my channel, but you're stupid and you don't care about the game. I'm sorry, but it's true. And those guys who don't care are Zach Plesac and Mike Clevenger, I'm not sure. You guys are stupid, and yeah, you're putting all your teammates at risk. Think they have families and all that. You're putting everybody at risk, and yeah, just don't do that. So let's we had Joe Kelly, his suspension got reduced to 5 games after successfully appealing the 8-game suspension he was originally given by MLB. So it did get reduced, which is good. Do I think 5 games is still a little much? Yeah, I would say like maybe 2 games would have been good enough, but I'm not Manfred, so I can't tell you. So Yonder Alonso is now on the Padres. They acquired him from the Braves. We did have more players opt out this week, like Marcus Stroman, who is on the Mets. He opted out because of COVID. With the Mets, just more and more stuff just keeps happening to them because that's the Mets lifestyle. So I did say we would talk about the Athletics. Now, what happened with the Athletics? We had Ramon Laureano. He got hit by the pitch several times in the game. He got mad. They were playing the Astros, so obviously tensions were flaring, and he was really getting it on with a Astros coach, and Yeah, later he was like, that guy's too much of a loser. I shouldn't have got mad at him. Like, I shouldn't have got in a fight with him. Obviously, people got suspended. Will they appeal? Most likely, because that's what always happens. And Joe Kelly called the Astros some names that I don't want to cuss for the second time on here because I don't want to risk getting demonetized in the future. But he did call some names to the Astros. I'm kind of curious if he will get any kind of punishment for that, maybe fined. I don't know, but I think there is a chance. But I haven't heard anybody say anything like that. That's just in my mind when I saw this, that he was saying stuff. I was like, you need to watch out, but at the same time, Joe Kelly, you're an American hero, so I don't care. So another thing that happened was Strasburg on the Nats got ejected. He wasn't even playing. He was in the stands and telling the umpires they were doing effing horrible call. Got ejected, so it was kind of funny. And he didn't get suspended or anything, so it's all good. I mean, Nats doesn't really apply to me, but still. And then the other ejection happened today, and this one was really funny. It was Don Mattingly, who is the coach for the Marlins. Donnie Baseball, love the guy. And he got pretty heated with the home plate umpire. Another umpire got involved. Just a lot of cussing. Tons of F words were dropped, and it was funny. I'm not gonna lie, but the Marlins did get beat today by the Braves. But that I did enjoy that little heated argument. But yeah, we've had a lot of arguments this week, but I feel like nothing else too crazy has happened in Major League Baseball this week. Maybe next week we'll get some more action. Who knows? That's why this podcast is going to be really short this week, and that was all. But I hope you guys enjoyed. You can catch us back on the second to last day of the month, which will be August the 30th. Yeah. Around this same time. It's always in the 10, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is when these go up. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and tell me down below in the comments what you think of the Marlins, how that's going, just what you're thinking about how your team is doing right now. My team is doing, I'm fine with how they're doing. Nothing too crazy has been happening. I mean, we kind of went off on the Angels today, but yeah, you know. So again, I didn't really have that much to talk about this week because I feel like it was a pretty tame week. So hopefully in these 2 weeks coming up, it gets wild again and we have some drama to talk about. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Click subscribe, and if you want to be one of the first ones to know when a podcast goes up, click that notification bell, ring it for whom the bells toll, and you will be notified when I upload videos, podcasts, whatever. So I will see you guys on August 30th, 2020, which is a Sunday, in the late night hours on the East Coast. Good night.